Earful Tower listeners, something different today. We are going to Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. We're not literally going to Guadeloupe. We're still sitting in the cold office in the 10th arrondissement. But we're talking to someone who lives on the island in the Caribbean known as Guadeloupe, which is actually a part of France, and where the weather's quite nice. And that's Laura K Lawless. So she's going to be talking all about what it's like to be living in a part of France that's like 7,000 kilometers away from Paris. And we're going to have a Corey story after that that's also related to language. Laura K Lawless is a language teacher at Lawless French. But first, some really exciting news. The live event that I've been talking about in some previous episodes has sold out. And I'm very thrilled about that. That's actually coming up in just a couple of days. Tickets all sold out. That proves that we actually have listeners who are very generous. So a big thank you to all the people who bought a ticket, especially to the ones abroad who bought tickets and donated them. These guys aren't even going to the show, but they bought a ticket, so I'm going to thank them personally. Here comes some names. Nafisa Dodi, Sally Langston, Preston Everett, Catherine Watt. Double shout out to Shelley Georgopoulos, Colby Fox, and Veronique from French Girl in Seattle. And a huge thanks to Padre Eddie for a very generous donation and also his very kind words. So thanks for listening, guys. I know that you can't be here, but you'll be here in spirit. Just wanted to say a big thank you. Now, let's get on with the show and head to Guadeloupe. Let's do it.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.
Okay, so Laura.
Yes.
I was going to say welcome to the studio, but the truth is you're not in the studio.
No.
This is the first time I've actually done an interview with someone who's not in the studio. You're in, well, perhaps you can tell the listeners where you are.
I'm in Guadeloupe, which is a French island in the Caribbean.
So this is, for anyone who doesn't know, this is called a DomTom, right?
Yeah, it's one of the DOM actually. It's a département d'outre-mer. So it's like Hawaii to the U.S. It's fully part of France, but it's completely detached, separated by an ocean.
So you're one of the DOMs, and there's also TOMs.
Yes.
And that's territories, territoire.
Yeah, well, there's also COMs now, and
that's the .com bubble, isn't it?
No, it's called a collectivité.
Oh.
And I don't really fully understand the difference, but the Dome is like truly part of France, just like, Alsace or Normandy or anything like that, whereas the Tome and the Com are slightly less French.
It's a pretty interesting, and before we get into language, which we're going to talk about, let's talk about this for a bit, because I was thinking about it this morning, these parts of France, like it's totally France, but it's just not on the mainland. And I was trying to think what that must feel like to be living in France when you're not really in mainland France. Do people get sort of offended if people will say, you're not really France? Is that?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, I've met people when I was in the Metropole, I met people from Guadeloupe, and I'd say, where are you from? They'd say France. It's like, no, but, really, because, I mean, as an American, that kind of question doesn't offend me,
Right.
We want to know what state you're from. And that's basically what I was asking. And they're like, no, I'm French, because it is offensive because some people consider that it's not truly part of France.
I mean, just because it's not part of the mainland, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Weird, huh? When I was thinking about it reminded me of, like, if you have, okay, maybe it's not like this, but when you have a friend who moves out of the country and goes to another part of the world, and then you sort of don't invite them to your parties anymore. Is that the way people in Guadeloupe and stuff feel? Like they've been excluded, or is it there's sort of island pride as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there is that. There's certainly island pride. And also, it's primarily black, whereas the Metropole is primarily white. So there's that possibility for issues. But yeah, it's more like it's forgotten. The Guadeloupeans sometimes feel like they're forgotten by France, Right. When hurricanes hit, they issue I can't think what it's called, but they offer money to help people rebuild after hurricanes.
Like relief,
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's not done very well because the government in France isn't paying enough attention. So once there was a hurricane where they gave people money for water damage for the storm surges, but not for wind damage, when in fact most of the damage was from wind. So they're just not paying enough attention, and it's very offensive.
If I put you on the spot, could you name all the DomToms?
No.
No, me neither.
I can name the four domes.
Go-
That's Réunion, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and French Guiana.
Well, I'm not looking at the answers, but that sounded about right to me. So you passed the quick fire. But how did you end up in Guadeloupe?
Oh, well, it's a long story. I'd always wanted to live in France and couldn't because it was at the time very hard to do so as an American without a job. So it wasn't
I think a
until
lot of our listeners will actually know that feeling.
yeah. So I tried several times and couldn't do it. So I kind of just put it off for a while, deciding I'd do it when I was rich and famous. So but then I started working online years and years ago. And after a while, my husband and I moved to Costa Rica, which is another place that I really love. And I was just so happy there. The only thing that marred it was that it wasn't French speaking. So after a while there, I was finally able to move to France. I'm glossing over a lot of detail here.
That's all right.
I finally was able to move to France, to the Métropole. And I was there for 5 years. And then I came into a little bit of money. There was a lawsuit, and I came into some money. So my husband and I came on a trip here to Guadeloupe and Martinique, and we spent a month here and just loved it. And so basically, I like to say that it's Costa Rica, but it's francophone. It's like it's got all the advantages of Costa Rica. It's very warm. It's tropical. It's island. It's laid back. Well, Costa Rica's not an island, but it's small.
Right.
But it's francophone, so it is France and it isn't France. And I don't know.
Does it feel like, do they have a lot of French, like if you go there, you're seeing bakeries and that kind of stuff, or is it really island, like sort of anywhere in the Caribbean? How French is it in terms of what people are used to here?
It's a fusion. If you go to the grocery stores, you'll see all the Président butter and cheese. You'll see all the wine. You'll see products that you totally know, but they're juxtaposed with, bananas and passion fruit and star fruit.
Hey,
and,
that's pretty cool.
So it is. It really is.
And the French
fun.
is spoken the same as the French in France? You call it the
Well,
Métropole. I've never even heard it called that before. Is that something that people call it when they're here as well, or is that just something?
That's how you distinguish, because France means all of it. It includes the dome. So when you're here in the islands and you're referring to what we would say as mainland France, they call it the Métropole, as in metropolitan France.
That's cool. I'm learning something new. That's what I like talking about. That's why I like talking to a French language teacher. And before we get to this, I've gone on a tangent, I think. But how can an American woman be a French teacher? Is that even allowed, Laura?
I think there's a few of us. I don't know. I just kind of fell into it. I went to school. I originally wanted to be an interpreter. I went to Monterey Institute of International Studies, and I was actually doing my master's degree in interpretation. And again, I have to gloss over a lot of detail, but that didn't happen. So I was kind of just at a loss for a while until I discovered the internet in the late 90s.
Right.
And I built a website. I just built a little personal website because I just decided, okay, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to work online. And so I taught myself HTML, and then I found this website that was looking for a French expert to, do a site on that. So I was like, oh, well, there you go. And that's what I started doing. And I became a de facto online French teacher.
And now that's what you are, right? So you've got Lawless French, lawlessfrench.com, where you've got all sorts of lessons, and you're teaching the French language to people from your home in Guadeloupe.
Yeah, it's independent study. I don't actually do classes. I write lessons that people access on their own time, whether or not they're actually studying with the teacher. They can fill in, like if they're taking a class, but they didn't understand the passé composé, they can come to my site and, get another explanation of it, which, typically helps.
When I heard you say passé composé, I was like, that's a good French accent. I imagine you have a pretty good French accent in there.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
What do you reckon about people who speak French with an extraordinarily strong American or Australian accent? Do you think, hey, that's okay, that's your personality? Or do you think, no, fix that accent immediately?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I tend to feel like if they have a strong accent, then their language can't be very good. But in fact, I know that's not true. I've met plenty of people that have amazing grammar. They just have a very strong, like, Texan accent or whatever.
Bonjour, comment ça
yeah.
va, like that.
Right, but
Yeah.
they might not make any mistakes at all. They have, but I do know also that the French find it very charming. Like I find the American accent in French really ugly. But the French always tell me how charming it is. And, you just have to turn it around to see how true that is. Like when a French speaker speaks English, it's so lovely. And so that's how they see our accent when we speak French.
But the French people hate their French accent when they speak English. I've lost count of the amount of times that French people say, "Oh, I have such an embarrassing accent," and you say to them, "The world loves your accent."
I know. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, I hate my American accent when I speak French, but they're like, no, it's lovely.
So how did you get 100,000 followers on Facebook? And can you teach me how to do it?
Well, I had a very, very popular website for many years, and it just grew. I did a lot on Facebook, and it just grew naturally.
That's not the overnight tip I was hoping for.
No, I'm sorry, I don't have an overnight tip. I wish I did, because most of those people are inactive now. I gained them years ago, and now that Facebook plays with the algorithms the way it does, it's not like 100,000 people read everything I post.
No, right. And that's the mystery with Facebook. We're always searching for that algorithm, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you if you would teach me some tongue twisters. I asked you. I asked if you could think about it. Have you come up with some?
I have. I actually have a whole list. So I went through it and picked some that are kind of fun.
Okay. Can we do some really easy ones, because I don't like getting put on the spot. Even though I put every guest, I put everyone on the spot. Okay, fine. I'll put myself on the spot, but we have to warm up to it. So, full disclosure, I don't know a single tongue twister in French.
Okay.
So what can you teach me?
Okay, well, this one, it's not really, I mean, I've seen it considered a tongue twister. It's actually not so much a tongue twister as it sounds like the same word repeated over and over, but it's actually a bunch of different meanings.
Okay.
So it's...
Hang on, wait. Tell me it in English first.
Okay, the green worm goes toward the green glass.
Okay, that's pretty easy in English.
Yeah.
The green worm goes towards the green glass. Okay.
Right.
And in French.
So it's le verre, that's the green worm.
Right.
Verre goes toward le verre.
Okay, and all together?
Le verre va vers le verre.
Le verre va vers le verre. Not bad.
Yeah.
And that's the easy one.
Yeah, that's the easy one. Because
okay.
there's not much to trip your tongue over.
No, you just keep saying verre and put a few sounds in the middle, and you pretty much get it.
Right, there you go.
Have you heard the rumor, which is apparently not true, that Cinderella never wore a glass slipper, and it was based on a mistranslation of the word for glass?
Yes. Well, not a mistranslation of glass. It was the word verre, VAIR, which means fur-lined.
Right. But
so somebody, I don't know, they saw it written maybe, or they only heard it, they didn't see it written, and it sounds similar to verre, meaning glass.
So it was a misunderstanding rather than a mistranslation. It's still kind of a mistranslation, but apparently that's not even true anyway. Apparently the original, really? Yeah, I looked it up once, and someone had apparently proven. I like the story though. It's a good story. Yeah. Yeah,
it sounds good.
Okay, well, I think as a French teacher, what's my grade for the first tongue twister?
It was good. You could use a little work on your R, maybe.
But, no, you're not the first. You're not the first person to say that. I bought lunch today, and they asked for my name, and I couldn't even get that right. When I said Oliver, she kept repeating it like I was an idiot. I said, she said, "What's your name?" I said, Oliver, and she goes, Oliver. Like 3 times she repeated it. I felt like just changing it to Olivier. But I've had a guest on before called Olivier Giraud, and he kept correcting me when I was pronouncing his name, so I got no chance even with my own name. So I got to get...
Well, once it becomes Olivier, the R is silent.
Olivier. But I called him Olivier, and he didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it sounds feminine then.
Olivier.
It sounds like there's an E on the end, and it sounds like it's feminine.
Right. So Olivier and Oliver and verre.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's keep them going.
Okay, so this one is a good test of vowels.
Oh man! All right.
Have you been to Tahiti?
Have you been to Tahiti? Easy in English
Yeah.
again. Easy in English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's as-tu
As-tu
été
été?
à Tahiti?
As-tu été à Tahiti?
Yes.
As-tu
Very
été à
good.
Tahiti? Hey, that's a
Very
good one.
good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That sounds like it could be like the chorus of a song, like a kind of Disney song. As-tu été à Tahiti? You got me straight away. As-tu été à Tahiti? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Very good.
And now can you say it quickly 3 times?
I'd rather not.
No, you have to do it.
As-tu été à Tahiti? As-tu été à Tahiti? As-tu été à Tahiti?
Okay. Well, the teacher wins that round again. Okay, have you got one that's really hard that's going to bamboozle me?
Well, yeah. So it's let's see, a knowing hunter.
This is the English.
Boy.
A knowing hunter.
I think I copied this wrong. Hang on a second. Yeah, un chasseur, sachant. This is really hard because it's got the S and the H. I don't know if you know, like Sheila sells seashells.
Yeah, I've heard that
one in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like the French equivalent of that.
Okay, let's do it. Go on, say it in French. Say it all out in French.
Okay. Un chasseur sachant chasser sans son chien est un bon chasseur.
Oh my.
I mean, I can't even do it. It's like a knowing hunter hunts without his dog. Who hunts without his dog is a good hunter.
Which is the kind of sentence you're going to come along in France. You're going to come up on. Okay, go on. I'm going to try it. Give it to me one more time.
Un chasseur sachant chasser
Chasser.
sans son chien
Sans son chien.
est un bon chasseur.
Est un bon chasseur. Un chasseur.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well. It was worth a try. Okay, you know what? We've already been talking for 15 minutes, Laura.
Wow, okay.
And that means only one thing. It means it's time for a quick fire round. Now, for anyone who's not listened to this show before, every single guest, I do at the end a quick fire round, which is 5 questions, and I just ask them. And in full fairness to the guest, I haven't written the questions. I'm putting myself on the spot too.
Okay.
So it's a mad free-for-all, and the rule is you can't think too much about it, Laura.
Okay.
But usually I do kind of Paris-related things, and seeming you're not in Paris, seeming you're in Guadeloupe, and seeming a lot of the listeners aren't in Guadeloupe, we've come up to a brick wall here how we should do it. So I'm thinking...
Well, I mean, I have been to Paris.
Yeah, okay, let's mix it between Paris, Guadeloupe, and language then.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Best thing in Paris that you can't find in Guadeloupe?
The sewer museum.
The sewer museum?
Yeah, les égouts de Paris.
Really? I've never even heard about that one. That sounds like an episode of the Earful Tower. I need to go find this.
Oh, it's very neat. I mean, it stinks a little, but yeah, you go down into this underground and you walk along the égout, the sewer, these giant sewers that run all under
Is that
Paris.
a word for sewer in French? Égout.
Égout, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what, you can
Yeah.
actually walk along the sewers?
Yeah, you walk. There's like an open trench, and you can walk along. And there's a little. I mean, it's been a while, but there's a little, visite. So it's interesting. It's not something you can do just anywhere.
Hey, good idea. I like it. Okay, what's one thing that a tourist in Guadeloupe should do that's maybe not on the, must see things on Lonely Planet?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, it's so small that pretty much everything is on the must-see list. But my favorite place in Guadeloupe is the beach that's just north of Pointe-Château, which is at the easternmost point of the island. There's a neat spot to visit. It's this rocky hill, and you can climb up, and there's a wonderful view east toward La Désirade, which is one of the islands in the archipelago. But just north of that, just like a mile or two north, there's a spectacular beach, just amazing. It's my favorite beach possibly in the entire world.
Wow. Can you send a picture of it so we can put it on the website?
Yeah, you bet.
Cool. And the website for anyone listening, theearfultower.com. Question 3, favorite French word?
Oh, époustouflant.
Époustouflant. What does that mean?
It means like stunning or spectacular.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen that word. They sometimes use it in film reviews. They love it in film reviews.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's where I've seen it. And when a movie trailer comes up, when they take one word from the review and then they just splash it up on the screen. That's it. Époustouflant.
Right,
that's
exactly.
a good word. Okay, what's one of those French words that you hate hearing?
why would I hate hearing it?
Well, for example, people hate hearing like "bow" or
I
"tuku" or
see.
something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I like those words like buff and I mean,
Yeah.
I think those words are great.
You can't just pretend to me that you like every word in the French language. That's nonsense.
I don't know. I love French. I can't think of anything.
You have to. It's the quick fire round, and that's the rules. Is there one that's hard to spell?
Not spell. No,
Well,
I mean, there's words that there are words like I don't like the name of the town, Boo, because I can't say it. It's like Buaux. So it's both.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's both oo sounds together, and I mean I just can't say it.
How you meant to say boo boo boo?
It's like bu, but bu. I can't do it.
Okay.
So,
that's a fair enough reason
to. I can never go there.
Yeah, you can't. Especially you can't get a train ticket for there. Imagine trying to order it from the. Oh man, I hear a lot of people struggle to get to Reims, which is spelled Reims, like Reims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I've never gone. Question 5, last one. Okay, I know that you've lived or at least traveled around a lot of France. So tell me a hidden secret in France, outside of Paris, somewhere that anyone should visit while they're in this métropole.
Oh gosh, there's so many places.
Need one, Laura. Need one.
The Dune de Pila.
Europe's biggest sand dune.
Yes.
Have you been? I've not been.
Oh yes, it's neat. We had a picnic at the top, watched the sunset. It's pretty neat.
What's so good about it? Honestly, it's just a lot of sand. It's like a big.
It's just different. It's something different that you haven't done before.
Yeah.
You may have climbed hills and you've been on beaches, but this is just a giant pile of sand that you can climb up and kind of slide down. And...
Did you do that? Did you do any of the sliding?
Oh yeah,
wow,
of course.
Okay. Well, that's something to do. Next time where is it? Down southwesty?
Yeah, southwest, yeah.
Okay. Well, you did pretty well on the quick fire, I'd say.
Okay.
I think 4 out of 5, considering you did stumble a bit on coming up with a worse word in French, and you did use a proper noun, which is a town name, which was specifically against the rules. But other than that, you did really well.
You didn't say that was against the rules.
It's all written on the website. You should have read it.
Boy.
Very clear, big. No, I'm just kidding. No, you did really well. But yeah, there you go. That's the time is run out. It's time for we've got our tour guide Corey Fry coming in with a story. So he's going to be joining. But thanks for being on the show. It was really fun.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver.
I feel like I learned something.
Okay, well, good.
And I'll be looking at your site and expect a knock on the door next time I'm in Guadeloupe.
Okay, definitely.
All right, thanks, Laura. And now we have time for a Corey story. Let's play the jingle.
It's a Corey story.
Welcome to the studio, Corey.
Hey, Ollie. How's it going? Hello, listeners.
Hello, Corey. Hello, listeners as well. Did you pass Laura K Lawless on the stairs on the way up?
Wait, are you trying to trick me? Because doesn't she live in Guadeloupe?
She certainly does. I was trying to...
Come on, man.
You got me.
Come on. We're friends, aren't we?
We're friends. So that was Laura.
Yeah, that was
how
awesome.
How do you tie Corey's story to Laura K Lawless in Guadeloupe?
I decided to go with the angle of language and words.
Sure.
Because there are, as in all languages, French has certain words that come unexpectedly and surprisingly from other sources, right?
Oh, man, I love language stories.
Yeah.
Let's bring it on.
So this is a fun one that I talk a lot about when I give my tours of Montmartre. There's a bistro called La Mère Catherine. It's right where the artists are painting at Place du Théâtre.
Place du Théâtre.
Yeah, by the Sacré-Cœur. And they say that that's one of the oldest restaurants in that area. And they've actually got a plaque on the side related to what I'm saying. So in the days
Open.
The plaque says open, yeah.
I'm trying to guess the story. No?
Good luck, man.
Okay.
So what happens is it's 1814. It's the end of Napoleon Bonaparte's reign. And he had many enemies, the Prussians and all these, but the Russians were also not fans of Napoleon. So they say in 1814 you had Russian soldiers running around through the streets of Montmartre. Back in that time, Montmartre was outside of the city. So they're looking to descend the hill and eventually besiege or attack Paris in some way.
And this is before Velib, so they couldn't have... That's the quickest way.
Yeah, it's like a few weeks before.
Yeah, right. I'm good at history too.
So we all need to humor him, don't we, people? Yeah, good job, Ollie.
Everyone's out there going, yeah.
Thank God he's got a nice voice. Otherwise, I'd shut this off.
Go on.
No,
then.
anyway,
so
here we go.
1814, Russians are kicking
1814,
around.
the Russians are kicking around in Montmartre, and the story goes, the legend of those streets, they pop into La Mère Catherine, which you can still eat at today, and they want some booze, some alcohol. Maybe it was vodka, I don't want to speculate, but they definitely want some alcohol, and they don't want to be caught by their commanding officer. So they say to the servers, the waitress, they're like, quick, 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 give us some booze. And the story goes that they were saying the word quick or fast, but in Russian, which is, and excuse me if anyone out there speaks Russian, I apologize for the pronunciation, but they were saying bystra, bystra, bystra.
Bystra.
Exactly. So they were yelling that out, like, fast, go, let's go, go. And so the French heard that. And the story goes that the French transformed that word, bystra, into bistrot. Bistrot. So the word bistro in French, according to this sort of urban legend, comes from that, the word for fast in Russian. Quick.
There you go. So we know a Russian word without even knowing it.
There you go.
If
Exactly.
you use bistro, you're speaking of bistro.
Absolutely. And as a conscientious sort of tour guide, historian guy, I got to mention that there are other theories of this. I don't want anybody to say, hey, you were wrong. But as often as is the case, there's sort of the urban legend and fact, and sometimes they get mixed up, and it's kind of impossible.
Etymology is a cloudy business.
I love etymology. Do you have any etymology
Oh man, just where do you want me to begin?
tips? Yeah, just off the
I'll
top
give
of
you
your
one.
head. Yeah.
My last name, G.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that it comes from McGee, like me and Bobby McGee in Scotland. McGee.
McGee, yeah, you're my Gee.
And
McGee.
they say, I don't really know the story because it's also clouded in mystery, but someone that was trying to evade or trying to get into a war cut the muck off so that they could either fight or not fight.
That sounds painful, cutting the mick off. That can change a man's life.
I think we need to start to push a new word into the French language by using an English word in cafes and stuff, like flat white. But we say it really quick so that they start using,
Fluet.
Fluit. Not going to work. Need to work on this.
Yeah, they'll think you're crazy, but eventually it'll catch on and you'll be a genius.
Hey, everyone thought the Russians were crazy in 1814, but they knew what they were doing.
Absolutely. Contributing to the French language.
I love language stories. I wouldn't mind doing a whole episode on language stories. If you like the idea of that, send me a message
Yeah.
and say,
always.
Oliver, bloomin' heck, that's a good idea.
Bloomin' heck.
And if code word Oliver McGee, then I'll know.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Corey McFry. So that's it, the story for today.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed the story.
I did.
You can find me as a French fry on French fry in Paris. I'm not on Paris. I'm in Paris. French fry in Paris, various places.
Frye.
Exactly. I should mention that. My name is Frye,
Yeah.
and that's where the pun comes from.
Yeah, we love a good pun here. Big fan. Well, Earful Tower's a pun.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I know you love puns.
The Eiffel Tower, earful, because you listen, you listen to it.
You think you need to explain that pun?
Hey, you'd be surprised.
No.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. If you're listening and you don't understand the pun of Earful Tower,
You shouldn't be listening.
I didn't want to
Thanks
say
for
it.
listening all the way to the end of this episode because we appreciate that. Leave a review on iTunes.
Please do.
It's not that hard. That's been another Corey story. And you've been listening to the Earful Tower, figuring out France one step at a time. Have a good week, guys.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.